Waiting for it. Oh, yeah, technically we are there. So it's just it may not be showing up in that video for whatever reason, but it's fine. But welcome to Lunar Arcade. Today we're going to be talking about some of the best games you may have missed in the never-ending sea of video games. So we're sorry if we add to your backlog. Joining with me today is my good friend Sunny, as he has his own recommendations. But if you're new here, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on future episodes. So since you're the guest of honor today, Sunny, go ahead and jump in. What's your first hidden gem of the day?
Yeah, so I got a couple. I mean, I've always been kind of more of a mainstream title guy. I
Hmm.
haven't really ever felt like I was kind of behind the curve. Like anything else that was pretty much popular growing up, I was probably on it, or at least in the know if it was like that big, right? However,
Hmm.
there were definitely a couple of games that I kind of growing up with that was like these really hit me pretty hard in one way or another, and maybe kind of feel something that I feel like most, or if not maybe nobody kind of really knows other than like maybe like small niche communities. So I was gonna start with kind of like the biggest one and then kind of work my way down to kind of maybe something more niche. Um, the first game I want to bring up and I'll go through just to share my screen on it. Um, Probably one of my favorite games artistically is
Hmm.
Okami.
Yeah,
And then
I
like
love
oh
Okami.
yeah, Okami is such a great and chill game and it's just such a beautifully made game. Like I just love the
Hmm.
aesthetics of it because in the never-ending race, like we've kind of talked about before, of like everything needs to be super high quality. I mean, here comes a game from left field that decides to take the step back and says, "Hey man, here you go. Here's nothing but just pure style and art and appreciation for the culture that we come from."
Yeah,
And with a game like this, it was definitely one of the biggest things that kind of like also inspired me personally, artistically, and also with just like the music and the game kind of creation space. Also, shout out to Group Trip because I don't have YouTube Premium,
yeah.
so
I
yeah,
was a big fan of the cell shaded, and it was
yeah.
around. I think it was around the same time like Wind Waker came out. So and then cell shading kind of like took off for me in my mind around that time, and I really liked that comic book looky inky style look to it.
Well, I mean, like it's like the entire art style is based off like traditional Japanese like ukiyo
Hmm.
paintings, right? So
Ink.
like yeah, so it's just like if you like look at like the great Kanagana wave portrait, right? That like every weeb in their bedroom has when they were 13, myself included, right? It's like that whole art style as a game was like mind blowing when I first picked this up when I was just a kid, and like on top of it, just like I don't know, it just like was the first thing that instilled in me like, oh, like it doesn't have to be realistic. It just has to be like full of heart. That's what this game really was to me. And
Right.
like it was like not only was it just like here's a really cool story and cool characters and concepts and designs and all this and that and the other, but also just like the pure joy and like kind of tongue in cheek of some of the stuff that you could do. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
for anyone who's not familiar with the game, I mean it's the story of Amaterasu, right? So
Hmm.
the sun god manifested as a dog, right? Who goes around and like saves people and is like trying to restore a balance to like the celestial space throughout the game, and
Hmm.
it's super cool to kind of like see the way they interpret these stories and like folklore and like the way they take yokai designs and like make it so interesting. Like I really
Right.
loved the enemies, the power ups, and like even like the core gameplay mechanic of this game was being able to stop time to like
Hmm.
go into like a different mode where like you could just paint over everything. And
Basically a
as like
god, because you
I
are a
mean,
god.
you are a god. It's like you could literally go through and use your paintbrush as a sword and stop time and just cut things down, right? But you could also like if you drew like a circle with like a line in the middle of it, that created a
Hmm.
bond. Or if you looked up in the sky and you drew a circle, that drew the sun, right? That would like ban the evil shadows that were like infesting the lands and stuff, right? And like
Yeah.
as you're going through like the tales that like you see like in the video here,
Hmm.
shout out to Shirako for providing the footage here. but it was just such a beautiful game, and I love the way you could customize the weapons that you had, because you could
Yeah.
go back and forth between, like, you can either have like a sword, or there was like beaded bracelets and stuff, but everything was rooted in like traditional cultural, you know things that
I've
they would use for like fighting spirits in general.
I,
You know what I mean?
and I've really liked that you could, when you're in the game, you could do supernatural, cool, godlike power stuff in the sense that, like, oh, let me pause time, draw a circle in the sky, and then it's daytime, or let
Hmm.
me, do it
And
again,
then you
or
could do
do
it
the
again and make it
moon.
night. Yeah,
Yeah, and or let me do this and it'll move the wind and stuff like that. And I
yeah,
think games like that kind of set the standard of like new ideas because it's like a lot of games are copy, cut and paste and this like, stands on its own. So now with another game on the way, it makes me wonder what it's going to look like, what other powers you're going to get now, like what are you going to do? Are you still Amaterasu? Are you a different god now? Or
yeah.
what's going on?
I think, like, especially with the way the game ends, not to spoil anything,
Hmm.
it does go through, and with like the setup of like there's still more work to be done,
Right.
for Amaterasu. And but the thing that really like made me like love the game too is like, as
Go
much as
ahead
this
and
is
skip
about
her.
like
I was gonna say skip ahead to show some game.
yeah, yeah, I'll go ahead. So there's just like the long-ended cutscene, right? But it's like, here's just like a section of just like pure, we're trying to get into like, yeah, it's
There you
shout out to Allstate.
go. Freaking get all state.
AO shout. Are these guys from The Sopranos?
Yeah,
I think they
definitely
are, right?
Sopranos.
But yeah, this is just like, just the whole style of this, minus it glitching out for a bit, like showing. I remember one of the things that you could do like on these trees as well was like, you could go ahead, you could like paint over them, so this way you
Oh
could like
yeah.
restore them and stuff. But
Hmm.
because like you can see all this like evil maleficent yeah, like that, that's just so cool to just be able to like, that the dog didn't do anything, it's god powers did, and that's you're part of that extraterrestrial force, doing something pretty epic to like make a bigger change, and like to throw in
I
like some of the
wonder.
combat and
I
stuff.
wonder what it's gonna be like now that the Switch 2 has mouse controls, because it's like now you can just like kind of like draw sort of like on
Yeah,
the
I think it
on.
would be really cool to be able to utilize that. I know it's like, number one, like the touch display was probably like one of the bigger things, right? But
Hmm.
to do it like with that, and like you could always just like move the wheels and stuff to like or the joysticks around to like do that. Um, but yeah, it's just such a cool game, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe just because I'm a weeb, you'll see that throughout some of the other things I got going on here, but it really is just like style personified. And I just really love the core message of just like love throughout all of this, man. Like, it
Hmm.
is just like pure dedication, because it wasn't big when it was out. I'm pretty
Right.
sure like I mean, even to this day, it's like still more of a cult following than it is anything else. But it's like, like, who would look at this and be like, this is game of the year? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
most people probably wouldn't have thought about it, but it's just the little things for me of being like, oh yeah, you can go ahead and you could do some like super epic, big fights with these demons and whatever. But you could also feed pigs, and you could also just like bark at stuff. You could learn how to
Yeah.
pee. If you
I
if you
really
go
loved
to
when
like
you
a
were like running
dojo.
really fast. You would
Yeah, and
have
like the
flowers
wind
come out.
starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like all the characters in the game too are like super like lovable. You know what I mean? For me personally,
Yeah.
like, even characters here, like, oh, this is just like some lame scaredy cat. Like, throughout the game, like, they really win you over. But like, even
Yeah.
just like the whole design of it all just really just made me fall in love with the whole thing. I mean, and to this day, it'll still be like one of my favorite underrated games. I think it really definitely deserves more love, and I feel like it is now, just because of the fact that, like, hey, we're getting a second one. At least it's been confirmed, but we've kind of been put in positions before where it's like, hey, we're gonna do something with this, but we're also like, it'll be on the shelf for a while, right? Like, we
Right.
definitely had games like that where we've been waiting for something forever, and then we felt like we never got it. Probably a big example being, Silk Song, up until recently,
Yeah.
right? Like, we thought Silk Song was never going to come out, and then it did. But lo and behold, I don't want Okami to kind of get in that same pitfall where it feels like it's never going to come out, and then out of nowhere it kind of blindsides us. I would just love for it to
Yeah,
just be. I'd love
sometimes
for
they
it to be
announce games
consistent
way
and
too
feel good.
early.
Hmm.
But
I agree with that. I feel like it could be a lot better in that regard, but we'll see.
well, we definitely recommend this game. So if you guys haven't tried this out, now's the time to do so. They have the HD remaster out, so you can. I think it's on PC. I'm pretty sure. Is it on PC? Because I feel like I saw
It
it on my
might be.
Steam Deck somewhere. But it
Yeah,
for sure is on the other consoles, Switch. Those kinds of consoles and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's
it
really
is for
easy to
sure
access
on
right
the
now.
Switch. That's how I got like originally I played it on PlayStation 2 when it first came
I
out,
got it on the
and
Switch, the HD remaster, so I could take it
yeah,
on the go.
yeah, and like I thought it was a really great port too. I thought just like everything that they had really gone out of their way to do with it was so super cool, and I think that like I don't know, they're really just like I love being able to just run around through a world and feel like I'm a part of that world when I'm in it.
Right.
You know, 'cause there's a lot of games where it's like I feel like there's nothing here. It's dead. Like going from place to place feels like it doesn't
It's
matter.
got no life.
Yeah, but the comedy is quite literally like you are bringing life to the world through the course of the story, and like you can
So
read
it's
through
living
those
and breathing.
words. I mean, seriously, like just like the all of the environments that like you're running through from village to village, like even if you're going from like somewhere desolate, like the art direction does a really beautiful job of like conveying its message to you that these are
Right.
ruined lands and you are the only one who could go up and save it, and like just like the idea of like the whole like painting mechanic is just so creative and fun. Like it reminds me almost like kind of like I don't know, maybe this is just kind of like a remnant of like some of like the Metal Gear games to me, where
Yeah.
it's like there's always an alternative way. There was, like at least up until like Metal Gear Solid 3, there was some sort of way you could work around these boss fights, right?
Right.
Like Psycho Mantis would read your save data, right?
Yeah.
And like just talk to you about it.
I remember
And like the
that.
way to like mess with him was to unplug your controller and plug it into the other, controller slot, right? And
Hideo
like
Kojima, man, he's a different
different breed for
beast.
real.
Yeah, because like any game he releases is just gold. But
I mean, shout out to PT. You know what I mean? When he was involved with that, like that was probably one
yeah.
of like the best horror games I was like about to come out, and then they kind of axed that because he was going to work on the Silent Hills project.
And then he
Um,
just all of a sudden turned around, still took Norman Reedus, and they did Death Stranding, which I love Death Stranding, by the way. It's a really interesting game. And it gets
yeah,
better and better as you keep going.
yeah.
Um,
If I ever wanted to cosplay as an Amazon delivery driver, I'll definitely check it out. You know what I mean?
yeah. And then for our next game, I'm going to share a pixel based game from a very small studio. You can see that there.
Yeah.
And this game is Eastward. So it's developed by Pixpill. It's a Shanghai based indie game studio. And I love this game. It's very earthbound. Like it's like Earthbound, but it's not turn based or anything. It's more action puzzle based. It's about this girl who has like weird abilities. Again, some spoilers may be shown in this, so I apologize, guys, letting you guys know just because I've never played this video gameplay before, so I don't know what's going to pop up. But I wanted to show you guys what it looks like, and it's a really fun game, really good story as it develops, and it's post-apocalyptic too. So it's almost like our world was fine for a while, but then something happened, which you're gonna have to figure out on your own. And this girl's involved to some degree, and she's special in a way, and you're also kind of like her caretaker. But it's interesting because the main character doesn't really talk so much, but everyone talks to you. Even the little girl talks, but your main character doesn't as much. It's one of those tropes.
Yeah.
But
Classic silent pro tag.
yeah, but it's cool because it's like you get to run around the town. You even have it's even one of those games that has a game within the game. Like you can go to like some of these like game stations or whatever, or like
Right.
arcade games and play an actual RPG inside of the RPG that kind of looks like a top-down Zelda sort of, or something like that.
Hmm.
But it may show it at some point in here. But it's just super interesting. I love, again, pixel art. I'm a sucker for. And this one even has a DLC that's kind of like a cozy game where you can do farming and stuff like that. I haven't played that one yet. It's on my backlog list, but I have played through this one, and this is a good game. I do recommend. If you haven't played it, Sonny, I do recommend this one. Have you
I
ever
really
tried
love the
Earthbound?
aesthetics
Or
of it though.
yeah, it's kind of got that washed out kind of like
That filter over it and everything, yeah.
yeah.
But I do very much get the Earthbound vibe off of it. And in some of these character designs and just kind of like the art direction with like some of the background stuff. I mean, just those
Right.
TVs with like those swirling logos and everything just reminds me of Gigas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And it's
those who know.
it's got a lot of sci-fi in it too. There's like some weird stuff like overtones that come up and you do some
Mhm.
traveling and stuff like that. So for anyone who hasn't checked this out, and you can get this almost like pretty much almost anywhere. So Switch, I got it on Switch. You can get it on PC. You can get it on PS5, I believe. Um, looks like somebody just joined the stream. Thanks for joining. If you guys have any hidden gems that you can think about, be sure to drop a comment. We'd be happy to hear that and go over that. Maybe put it up on screen here too. But that's my second hidden gem. Let's see if we can skip to some of the. Yeah, it's interesting. Like
Oh
it's
wow.
kind of like Zelda. So it's like he has a frying pan. That's his weapon. But there are moments where you get to actually switch to play as the girl, and then you get to
Mhm.
use like her abilities and stuff to
Mhm.
solve puzzles, and you can like separate from each other. And he goes one way, she goes the other, and then sometimes you need to switch between them to solve the puzzles, which I really love. It's really good.
I really like
Um,
the UI in it too. Like in the
yeah.
bottom left hand corner. Like I love the
Hmm.
designs and just like the way that they have like everything spaced out and stuff. Really clear and easy to read, but like it oozes with charm and style that I feel like is fitting of it. And plus like
Yeah.
the animations and stuff I really like already.
Yeah, a lot of these games, they did well and they were popular, but I still think that they need more love because it's like, more popular things like this become, the more developers will make them. Not only that, but it helps out these smaller studios. Maybe they'll make a part two, or maybe they'll make, a different game that's similar in art style, but a completely new story. You know what I mean? It might be one of those things. So and you have different kinds of weapons too. So it's not just like you get these like post-apocalyptic makeshift, like obviously here he has like a flamethrower, you can throw bombs. It is very Zelda-like in that sense, but again, it's a mix of different games. Zelda, Earthbound. There's some
I'd
other
say
games I
even
might
like
be.
some of the like the Super
Yeah,
Mario
see how
Brothers
she has
RPGs and
powers.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, she's
Yeah,
showing that. That's crazy.
yeah, some different, some enemies have different weaknesses, things like that. And there's a part where you're like even on like a boat and or a makeshift boat and you have to like hit something to like move the boat forward. It's really good. I do recommend this one. Do you
That's
have
pretty sick.
a what's your second recommendation?
So funny enough, to kind of go off of